From the Open Voice Network, Voice Chats, we host conversations on tech, retail, commerce, and inclusion around voice.
Welcome to another edition of the Open Voice Network Chat. My name is Oxana Gouliaeva. I'm an innovation and voice tech consultant based in Paris. And today we will have a chat with two great speakers. May I introduce Donald Buckley, a media consultant and veteran Warner Brothers digital marketing executive. He serves today as media and entertainment industry advisor at the Open Voice Network and is formerly chief marketing officer at Showtime Network. Hello, Donald. How are you today?
Hello. Thank you. I'm well.
My second speaker is Janice Mandel. She's a writer and communications consultant focused on ethical integration of technology in society. She serves on several work groups with Open Voice Network, such as the Ethical Use Task Force and Synthetic Voice Communities. Hello, Janice.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Today, I would like talk about your white paper. I must say that Janice and Donald recently published a white paper about the future of media and entertainment informed by voice. They explore how voice technology has grown in a significant tool for innovation in media, entertainment, advertising, and other industries. The white paper will be, of course, available along with the recording and on the Open Voice Network website. I strongly recommend you to download it. I would like to start this discussion about the adoption. What is curious, is really interesting with voice, is that its adoption was faster with any other technologies across device and across generations. When we combine this fast adoption and the universal popularity of audio content, what can we say today about the best use case scenarios across generations, across devices? Should we start with Donald, maybe?
Sure. I think first we have to think about the numbers, right? And what those numbers actually mean towards further education and adoption. There's something like 90 million in the US, 90 million adults who actively use voice devices. It's a tremendous number. I don't know what percentage of the population that is, but it's significant. And as you say, across generations, the adoption is increasing, and the greatest growth right now is happening on mobile platforms, right? Which you might imagine will expand the demographic profile of the users. So what I think about when I hear those numbers is primarily the proficiency that users are gaining. Just like swiping, tapping, and typing, it's going to be adopted as natural behavior. And the more people who adopt, whether it's on mobile or voice assistants or in the car, which we should probably talk about at some point, if not on this interview, then on some future discussion, the greater the propensity is for brands to be able to reach those audiences through that platform. So it's very exciting. Very early days, though. We have to remember that.
And I remember in our previous discussion, you mentioned your wife's old aunt, who is also an active user, actually, of voice assistants.
Yeah, it was amazing. She's about 83, 84 years old. We visited her recently, and her watch rang, and she responded by dictating a text back to the caller, saying that she was busy with guests visiting, that was us, and preparing dinner and all those things. I was blown away by that,
So actually, it's very interesting because very often we think of younger generation, people curious about the technology and all these novelties and innovation, but it's not the case. It's really across generation. This is so intuitive.
It is.
And in your white paper, you give great examples. Maybe you and Janice can give us a couple of really brilliant examples showing the scenarios.
Yeah, I will throw that over to Janice, and then I can add some to that.
Let's do that.
Oh, great. You know, voice is so intuitive. I mean, we speak, right? It's the way we communicate. Nobody has to learn anything. So it's frictionless, as people like to say. And so when you talk about older people, it's not that there's one older type of person. You know, we're across the board. So right there, just don't assume that age has its limitations. But we saw great success, first, of course, in healthcare, where it's just so natural to ask for things. You know, is my nurse coming? When does the doctor come? Those kinds of things. And so success was right away in the hospitals, in homes where people have no facility for learning new things, maybe, or they just don't want to learn new things. It's just easy. So it sort of makes it easy for everyone. So just watch the way people ask for things, and that's what you get.
Yes, Donald, would you like to add something?
Well, I just, you know, what we're seeing in the entertainment space is a very slow, very tentative testing in some quarters. Some organizations are not doing anything. Others are doing middling work, and so some are more aggressive. But what does shine in the white paper is the scale. So on one level, you've got entertainment properties or projects or programs like that of Matchbox.io, which is, you know, a small homegrown company, which is producing a number of games on the platform, most notably Question of the Day. And they're doing a really great job of integrating the social platforms to drive more and more traffic. And in their own way, they're helping to solve, in their corner of this world, the issues of search and discovery, which are, you know, discoverability is a problem across much media, but especially now with voice, discoverability is a big challenge. All the way to Sony, a major global corporation, which has embraced voice through Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Jeopardy platform. Both very, very successful. So you've got this very small effort at original programming, Question of the Day. It's so much fun. I highly recommend that everyone try it. Dabbling a little bit with commerce, digital goods, subscriptions, monetization. You're starting to see a little bit of action there, all the way up to, as I said, this global organization like Sony as a brand extension of enormously popular television IP. So I'm struck by that. And early days. And then somewhere in the middle are companies that have no idea about voice just yet. And I think, you know, one of the things I know you wanted to talk about, Oxana, is how can the Open Voice Network open the doors for these companies? And Janice can confirm this, but we found in our research, and I have to tip my hat to Janice because she unearthed some brilliant research that helped inform the paper and made it really what it is. From Gartner, I think was the source.
Yes.
Which talked about privacy and security, and allowing consumers to have control over that. And that their study found that, I think, churn reduction was as high as 40% by simply allowing consumers control over their own data. And I think that's a hugely attractive point that will help draw people in, businesses, media companies, entertainment firms, into the world of voice with the help of the Open Voice Network and white papers like this.
I would like now to leave the floor to Janice because she's done a huge research for this white paper. If I may just reformulate the question, actually what I noticed also is that voice helps actually on every stage of the value chain. You mentioned, Donald, branding with Sony, so voice branding or audio branding. It helps at content production, discovery, distribution, consumption, even advertising. So actually we are coming here to the business model. Maybe Janice, could you illustrate with some examples from the white paper to show how voice interaction on each stage of the value chain can help?
Oh my goodness. It was so exciting to just look at this across the board. First of all, I encourage everybody to look at this paper. There's so much great stuff in it. And, as we wrote it, new things were happening every day. So we were nervous to get it out there because there was just so much limit to a paper you can do. But we started out with one of my favorites is back in the day, the X1 remote from Comcast. I mean, that was an accessibility feature. And it became this fun thing that I use every day. I finally got my husband to stop answering me from the kitchen. That was one of the downsides when people start talking in your house and you think they're talking to a person. But it was adopted like instantly. I mean, I can just find anything I want. And then Comcast had positioned themselves so that in 2019, when we started seeing, cutting the cord and what are we going to do? We're losing people. They went, bam, they took that capability and gave it to their Flex. It's like a 4K streaming program it's free for broadband users. So now they keep reeling them back in. Like, I kind of like it. And I do feel good about Comcast for giving me that because they were right out of the box with the first, and they were some of the first folks from advertising. Spotify came in there back in, it was Pandora that looked at their model. Remember Pandora? You get to ask for the songs you like. It's really fun. And so that was good at parties. Well, all of a sudden they realized, well, this is becoming a commodity. Spotify's coming in, things are happening. What are we going to do? And then, of course, in the beginning, they actually pioneered the first voice advertisements. Doritos came in there. Actually, Comcast came in there. They had a whole team ready to go. So they came in and it was instant excitement. We had to use this microphone. And that became their future because they used Instreamatic, which is a software program to do measurement. They said, oh, we'll make it instead of a click-through rate, a say-through rate, that kind of thing. And they were just like ready to go. So the experiments that they did early on, which now we hope should be part of universal design, right? Why just add an accessibility feature and throw it in there when it just depends on what you want to get and how fast you want to get it. I don't want to remember where everything is anymore. I can't. There's just too many streaming options. So it's like an amazing thing to go and look at.
Very, very interesting. Thank you very much. And I think it shows how voice really uses this interaction in real time that's made possible right now. And it's absolutely trackable and can be analyzed. And we have also voice data analysis tools, etc. So it's really digital, like internet has got a new channel. And you mentioned already that actually voice helps businesses to solve their business goals, actually, right? To acquire customers, to offer a great experience, to make a retention, so
that's huge.
Lower churn and monetization. We talked about the advertising. What's the best way to start to create meaningful experience? What do you think? Who would like to take it over?
Well, I think the way you begin has perhaps already begun. So,
yeah,
with some, the popularity and the prevalence of podcasting, for example, podcasting is increasingly being used as a brand extension. We wrote a little bit about that with the audio natives like NPR, one of the earliest entities to adopt podcasting, which is, arguably part of this conversation. It's the world of audio. And even in my own experience, a couple of years ago with Ben Stiller's show that I worked on, Escape at Dannemora, we created a 5-part, 6-part, I forget whether it was 5 or 6-part brand extension podcast with a true crime podcast producer. And it was enormously successful. And it was all about immersion in the brand. So this is why you use social media. This is why you create interactive advertising, because you're cementing the relationship of the consumer with the brand. And that's what this is all about. So I think it's begun with podcasting. Honestly, I don't think I know a mature advertising platform, a mature advertising ecosystem, a sophisticated way for advertising professionals to buy media on voice just simply doesn't exist yet. And there's a great deal of fragmentation. There's a great deal of work to be done. There's no advertising to speak of on devices, on smart speakers. There's a little bit of flirtation with it with some of the majors, but there's nothing like, the TV ecosystem or the terrestrial radio ecosystem. It's getting there. And just a word about data, and then I'll stop. There's so much unstructured data that is not being analyzed yet. So we don't really have a true arsenal of sophisticated data analysis tools for voice. It's coming for sure, I guarantee you, but not to the extent that it is able to be utilized by businesses in any whole or fulsome way. It is coming, and the insights are going to be amazing. And Janice will remember, we spoke to one major movie studio digital marketing executive who spoke about the sentimining that they do on social platforms, looking for sentiment, looking for propensity to attend movies. And this person couldn't wait to see what voice brings to that process. So we know that there's a hunger, there's an anticipation, there's a great deal of interest out there.
You mentioned how to get started. Right now, there is no reason not to. We just had a new announcement from Speechly, which has an API that'll let you add voice just to your website, to your mobile app, to anything. So experiments need to be happening, and they can be happening. Just have fun. The kind of thing that people talk back to, you talk back to them, and let them talk to each other and see what happens. It's a lot of fun.
And technology allows a lot of things, and that's a huge field actually for startups who really create new features based on technology, and they start on advertising, on automating content creation, on analytics and everything. So lots to be done, but it's on the way. And probably where brands should start with their brand, with their mission, with the message we want to send, and the image we want to project, right?